Well, the Broadway Plan was adopted by Vancouver City Council in 2022, but it was done largely through connection with industry, discussion with industry, real estate, but the people of Vancouver were not really well informed about what's going on. And now we're seeing green and white and blue rezoning and development signs popping up all over 500 city blocks of the Broadway Plan area. People are shocked to see what's going on, didn't realize it was coming. But there's going to be thousands to tens of thousands of renters demo-evicted, communities disrupted, and even owners of places are going to see their neighborhoods basically torn apart, communities ripped apart and disrupted. So we're trying to put a stop to that, have a pause to the plan, get mayor and council to slow down and listen to the people and rethink this whole thing.
Yeah, so we're here at City Hall on the north side in Helena Gutteridge Plaza. This is the Pause the Plan rally. It's November 23rd, and a great turnout. So I'm really looking forward to having an amazing panel of speakers, and I'm super excited.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you. This is a really amazing crowd, folks. Give yourself a hand. Amazing. Really, really good.
We shouldn't be demolishing perfectly sound, low-rise apartments and multiple conversion dwellings, featuring many units with affordable rents, and filling our landfills with construction debris. What we should be doing is upgrading our existing building and social and affordable housing assets, preserving character buildings that define our beautiful neighborhoods, and intensifying land use where appropriate to aggressively expand new housing opportunities.
The Broadway Plan, and my experience as a displaced renter under it, my friends, my community, has been so abhorrent that I felt the need to speak. Criticisms of the Broadway Plan have created such insults to me. I've been called a NIMBY boomer. I'll have you know I'm a geriatric millennial. And for me, this isn't NIMBY. This is not in my backyard. It's actually not in my living room, not in where I've lived for 6 years, where I've built my life, where my husband's built our lives, where we've got this incredible community, including some of the renters from my building who are here today. But in any event, I wanted to just let you know a little bit about what displaced renters are experiencing under the Broadway Plan right now. So as I mentioned, I've lived in Fairview for just about 6 years. We have almost 900 square feet at the low market rent. Don't tell anybody. We have a front door and a back door. We have a cat who has his own little door. And more than anything, we, as I've mentioned, have this incredible community. I'm in a 6-unit building. I know all my neighbors. We have backyard barbecues. We have holiday parties. We look out for one another. And through the Broadway Plan, we've also gotten to know the building next door. It's a little bit more dense, but they're also lovely folks. What are we? We're working people. We're disabled people. We're seniors. We're students. We're a lot of folks who've been priced out of homeownership and have kind of accepted that and found a solution that's really worked for us. So you can imagine our dismay when the Broadway Plan went through. We understood, oh yeah, I'm at 11th and Birch, the El Nido. We knew that when the Broadway Plan went through, there was a target on our backs. We happened to know that the owner owned both our building and the one beside. So we knew it was a matter of time. And of course, this came true. Jesse, what was it? June of this year, we got our notice of potential redevelopment. It wasn't even addressed to us, which was nice. Dear tenant, goodbye. So we were told, yes, you're now subject to this redevelopment. We've put forward the rezoning plan. Your first step is to attend a tenant meeting with the owner developer. And we thought, great, okay, as much as we are very concerned about what we know about the plan, as much as we are concerned when we started learning about the tenant relocation protection policy, the TRPP, which is the supposedly amazing protections that are supposed to make this just mwah for all of us displaced renters. We showed up to that meeting and tried to, come in good faith. We prepared our questions, and we were just interested to hear what the owner developer had in store for us. Very long story short, we had about an hour-long Zoom meeting where we were told to turn off our cameras and turn off our mics and please put our questions in the chat box. All of our questions that we had, such questions as where are we going to go? How do you plan on helping us with interim housing when a quarter of the city's rental stock is all getting kicked out at the same time during a housing crisis? Can I have a cat in the new building? I don't know. All of our questions were, oh, yeah, good question. We'll get back to you. Oh, yeah. No, that's good. We'll have to get back to you on that one. And the resounding thing was, don't worry. It's like 2 or 3 years. It's lots of time. It's gonna be fine. I think I speak for all of us when I say we left that meeting with more questions than answers and a resounding sense that, oh, they don't give a flying F about us. We're just dollar signs and we just need to get out of the way. We got a follow-up meeting, which was even more fun. We finally got some answers to our questions, and they are, we're following the TRPP. We're following the TRPP. You will receive the base of what's in the TRPP. Which obviously didn't really help us. Again, the TRPP is like a 26-page document. I have read it. It's super exciting. But it's also really unclear and leaves a lot up for interpretation, and that's where we run into problems. So suffice to say, this has been a really negative experience. I won't get into all the shady, sad parts of TRPP. For instance, try moving a 1.5 bedroom household twice for $750. That's what we're going to get. Enjoy your $1,500 one-time payment to cover your future utilities should they not be paid in the new building that you're going back to. Good luck with your cat. There's that one. But overall, it's just been, the real experience from the tenant's perspective has just been one of absolute hostility towards us, disrespect. They clearly hate us. They want us to shut up and go quietly. And one of the things that took us a while to put together was, this sloppiness, this lack of interest in our well-being, this complete, flippant attitude towards us, there's no guarantee they're even going to build the project. What's probably happening is the owner is just going to get the rezoning and flip it. And then that build will be someone else's problem. And our experience as threatened renters is now going to get extended even longer with a whole new group to get to meet. Not to mention, these guys don't even have a bond if they go bankrupt or anything happens in the middle. We're completely on our own. Yeah, so fun. I took a look at the Broadway plan. I'm almost done, don't worry. I took a look at the Broadway plan before I came, and what did I see? Right, page 8. The Broadway plan is meant to provide complete, inclusive, and affordable transit-oriented neighborhoods. So we looked at the building that's supposedly going in our place, and it's a 19-story, 155-unit building. 62% are one bedrooms, and the one bedrooms are 550 to 650 square feet. I've also been told I get a one bedroom even though I have an almost two bedroom because of CMHC right size housing, and because I don't have a child, my cat doesn't count, I don't get a two bedroom. Boo. In any event, yes, so the new building, I guess really to just kind of wrap this up, what really just doesn't make sense to me, obviously I'm not a politician, I'm not a planner, but how does knocking down affordable housing where people who've been priced out, who've built community, who've have made lives for themselves, and replacing it with 155 units of market rent, below 20% will be 20% will be below market, but the majority is market rent. How is this helping? How is this making the future better? The math, I don't know, the math is not mathing here. So again, I thank you all for showing up. I thank the organizers and everyone who stood up for affordable housing and for actually building the city that we want to live in. Thank you so much.
Those renter protections are a joke. They're a scam and they won't work, okay? They're going to displace people and you can return to your apartment to come back into an apartment that's 50% smaller 5 years down the road. Boo! That doesn't work. Boo! And you know what? Those renter protections were hard fought and they're very likely to be rolled back on. Okay, so we need to be making sure that we're vigilant and we're keeping track of what City Hall is doing, because trust me, this ABC Council and Ken Sim, this sham of a mayor, boo, shame. They are going to try to roll back on those renter protections, and they're hardly renter protections to start with.
Our biggest controversy right now is housing crisis versus affordability crisis. Why are we asking to pause and revisit the Broadway Plan, because we are being fed the same story over and over again. There is a housing crisis, and we are believing it. No one is tracking the empty new buildings covered with darkness in the city due to unaffordable rents. The Broadway Plan will be evicting a lot of people who are already living in affordable housing. A lot of seniors in this area will be displaced from their existing communities and will have to move out of the city. Families with kids who are already growing in a lifeless society where parents have to work 2 to 3 jobs to support the increasing cost of living will be displaced. The Broadway Plan is going to really speed up the growing housing crisis of seniors and middle-class families. The impact on the seniors who are already feeling the uncertainty in their lives is absolutely disgraceful. Seniors who have worked all their lives, fought for this country, paid their dues, and cannot afford to die, live in peace in their final days of life.
This greedy growth coalition, they look at these people, they look at these neighborhoods, and all they see is a chance to make a profit. They don't care about the people who live here. They just want to take and reduce any barriers or opposition to them earning appreciation on their land investments. Now, they can't just say this quiet part out loud, so they have crafted a narrative instead. So they funded business professors, including at UBC, as well as media advertising, to claim that tearing down affordable housing and replacing it with far more expensive units will actually trickle down into cheaper housing. And, you know, they've even sprouted up an aggressive YIMBY lobbying group and campaigns to spread this supply narrative around the city, and even higher levels of government have adopted it now. So this narrative is false. The data proves it, and this is clear as day to anyone who actually watches this happen in their neighborhood, as we all have. And this is because in reality, deregulating zoning inflates the land values to the prospective market rate, and it promotes land speculation there and in all of the buildings around it. And this allows developers to extract far more value from renters, and this drives up the cost of housing. Our government has allowed land investors to make more profit from their assets, and this profit comes from our hard-earned income and raises our rents. So to claim that increasing the profits of these land investors will trickle down and decrease the cost of housing for us is ridiculous, and it does not happen. It's never happened anywhere. There's no evidence for it. So the new towers in the Broadway Plan area, there is a study, they're expected to be at least 70% more expensive than the current rents in the neighborhood. So all of the evidence in this area of study going back 50 years, what it actually shows is that preserving our existing affordable housing and controlling the profit of landowners through managed zoning and controls, that's what's key to preventing gentrification and keeping the cost of housing down. Okay? So we need to make our neighborhoods livable and affordable for the people who actually work here. That has to be the government's approach. And so in order to make this happen, we need to take back our power as neighborhoods and show developers that they are not entitled to our city.
The weird thing is we found ourselves with a plan motivated by a falsehood, which has been mentioned before. It's an unsupported belief that removing planning and development controls for new market rental towers along the Broadway corridor will lower rents. This is an illusion, one that leads us away from the thoughtful urban planning traditions that have shaped our city for the better. For decades, and I've been privileged to at least observe that and participate to some extent, for decades we adhered to the simple yet powerful idea growth should pay for growth. As we built new developments, we secured park sites, school sites, essential infrastructure, and importantly, affordable housing, which was funded directly through contributions from the development itself. This system allowed us to expand responsibly and equitably, I would argue. But now with this plan, we are turning away from this tradition and bowing to an unfounded market orthodoxy. The city and the province both insist that flooding the skyline with high-rises while stripping away regulations will magically bring prices down. This is folly. False. False. Let me explain. Thank you, Thomas, for mentioning that work that you did. I'm stealing some of it. Let me explain. Since 1970, Vancouver has done what no other city in North America has managed. We tripled the number of housing units within city limits. New York City, it added just 30% by comparison. Los Angeles and San Francisco, equally modest. If simply adding lots of new housing units led to lower prices, Vancouver should have the lowest housing prices in North America. Instead, we have the highest. We have, or had, a tradition in Vancouver. Hundreds of committed planners, developers, and Sean was one of them who spoke earlier. Developers, architects, and urban designers worked hard to bring density done right to our city. We sat with residents, listened, negotiated, and found ways to integrate new housing that enriched neighborhoods without overwhelming them. We built a city that is globally admired for absorbing growth without sacrificing livability. Yet here's the bitter truth. Despite all this new density, prices did not fall. And now the Broadway Plan hinges on the belief that a largely unregulated housing market will suddenly deliver affordability. It's a painful contradiction, especially when the facts on the ground tell such a different story. The market, unchecked, only builds where profits are their highest. It doesn't build homes for our teachers, nurses, service workers, or the young families struggling to stay in this city. Now, what is the solution? There are many elements to the solution, but what I would like to see the city consider, the city should confront the core assumption of this plan. The core assumption of this plan that adding new housing units will lead to affordability is patently false. It's a lie. The city already has powerful tools at its disposal, tools that were used for decades, for really generations in the past now. Has powerful tools at its disposal, zoning bylaws, development regulations, and policies that can ensure at least a portion of new real estate benefits the public good. Other cities have proven that by leveraging these tools, 50% of all, or more of all new housing can be made permanently affordable. Importantly, keyed to average household income rather than the so-called slightly below market. That's the key. That's key. But what are we doing? The opposite. We are, at this time, removing the very controls and easing the very measures that could direct growth towards the public interest. This is not just unwise, it's short-sighted. So we are asking the city to revisit this plan. No one is opposed, particularly here in Vancouver where we've tripled residential density and no other city has done that. No one is opposed to the idea of new density. In fact, we are the North American champions. We've done it before and we can do it again, but not like this. The approach before us is not planning, it is an abdication of planning, driven by a willful ignorance of how urban markets actually work. We must be smarter. We must harness the strength of this market, as has been done in the past. Look around you. The strength of this market to serve everyone, not just the fortunate few. Let's not turn away from the legacy that made Vancouver great. Let's insist on a plan that builds not just more towers, but a better, more inclusive city. Pause the plan. 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 Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know who's next.
Thank you. Pause the plan.
This was the Pause the Broadway Plan rally. And we've had thousands of people sign few petitions about rethinking the Broadway Plan. So it was the first time really to get a large group like this together to show the energy, the interest, and the concern.